Hello, my name's Adam Hills. Welcome to Spicks and Specks, the show in which two teams of well-known music lovers go toe-to-toe, head-to-head and cheek-to-cheek to test their musical knowledge. Let's meet them. Our first team leader is a man who has modelled his leadership skills on the captain from The Captain and Tennille. Please welcome Alan Bro. Alan's first guest tonight is a comedian and cabaret singer with a dark side. If Ozzy Osbourne and Liza Minnelli had a love child, it would be Eddie Perfect. Right. Alan's final teamster was not only present at the birth of Australian Boogie, he cut the umbilical cord, smacked its ass and breastfed it for the first 6 months. From Eagle Rock to Mondo Rock, Ross Wilson. Our second team leader's name is the short form of the Welsh name Myfanwy, which means train station on a hill overlooking a meadow with 2 sheep and a cow with a spot on its head near its nose. Please welcome from Triple J the idyllic Miff Warhurst. Miff's first teammate was the lead singer of 90s pop band Frente, who gave us such hits as Ordinary Angels and Accidentally Kelly Street. She recently appeared on the cult TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a nightclub singer for a room full of bloodthirsty demons. Wasn't nearly as scary as the time she played the Williamstown Festival Rotunda, though. Please welcome Angie Hart. Miff's final competitor is one of Australia's hottest young stars. He's done radio, he's done TV, and soon he'll be doing a short-lived marriage and a battle with prescription drugs. It's Hamish Blake. Now, Al, Miff and I had a lovely musical moment during the week when we were chatting and realised that even though Al grew up in New Zealand and Miff grew up in country Australia and I grew up in the city, there's one album that we all have in common. ABBA's Arrival. Oh. Oh, yes. What was it that did it for you about ABBA's Arrival, Miff?
Well, I would have been about 3 at the time, and the beards, I think, on the men, I quite liked that at 3. That was nice. A bit like Santa, but blonde. And the ladies, of course, they were gorgeous, so, you know.
Kind of what did it for me as well.
I liked the helicopter. It was just perfect, and they're getting out. They were all jaunty and Swedish, and they were just like, we've arrived. And you go from a helicopter, how rock and roll is that? Apart from the fact it's one of those bubble ones that crash like every second time they go up. They had long skirts with cats on the front of them, and in one song, I can't remember what it was, they tore the long skirts off, and they had hot pants on.
Hot pants, great.
And I just thought, that'd be so cool at school, wouldn't it? come out to little play, and everyone goes, oh, it's a bit hot, and you go, yeah. And you've got hot pants on, they go, let's rock!
No, I'm trying to pretend they never existed.
How come?
Oh, I'm really... It's a bit creepy. It's a bit IKEA music. Yeah, man. You go in and you can't come out.
Alrighty, let's get playing with the show. Our first game tonight is called Common People. Each team will be shown 3 different artists. They have to work out what those 3 artists have in common. Alan's team, here are your artists. Guitar legend Eric Clapton.
Yep.
The 50s crooner who gave us Splish Splash, Dream Lover and Beyond the Sea, Bobby Darin.
Okay.
And the Australian star of the hit musical Shout, David Campbell. What did these 3 artists have in common?
They're male.
They're male?
Male,
Yep.
good start, yeah.
Well, that game's over.
Yep, there we go.
My idea was that they either have the word clap or in their name, or they had the clap.
Yeah. All I know is that Bobby Darin donated his body to science when he died. He gave it to the UCLA Medical School.
Another train of thought, it's sort of actually coming back to me. As I wrote some songs with David Campbell's old man, with Barnsey, and David Campbell was just starting to be coming back into the family because he hadn't known that Barnsey was his dad. Perhaps the thing they have in common is that they were raised either by their grandmothers and thought that they were their mothers, or raised by their mothers and thought they were their grandmothers.
Is there anyone here from the deep south of America that can explain that?
I reckon you're right, because I've heard that as well. Eric Clapton was raised by his grandmother, and he had a sister, and then I think when he was 9, he found out that his
sister was his mum or
his
something.
mum, yeah.
A lot of that goes on.
Yeah, and the same thing happened to Bobby Darin, except both his parents were living with him and were his sister and brother, and he was raised by his grandparents.
So it's not something they said like so they could beat him up, like, no, I'm actually your mum, give me the toy, kind of thing.
So I reckon that's the answer. Eric Clapton,
Something like that.
Bobby Darin and David Campbell were all raised by their grandparents, but thought their grandparents were their parents, and then discovered they weren't because their sister was actually their mother. And I can't say it any more.
That was the most convoluted and confusing answer, and it's completely right. That's exactly what happened. Each of them were raised by the person that they thought was their mother, who turned out to be their grandmother, and the person that was their sister turned out to be their mother. That means David Campbell is actually his own uncle.
Probably knows what he wants to get himself for Christmas then.
Yes, yeah.
I'm my favourite uncle.
And then at family parties, he gets drunk and tells himself inappropriate jokes.
Sorry, my uncle's pissed. He does it all the time.
Myths team, here are your artists. Legendary singer-songwriter Carole King, successful musician and unsuccessful actress Madonna, and the 60s soul singer who gave us Reet Petite and Lonely Teardrops, Jackie Wilson. What do these three artists have in common?
They're all in those little photo frames.
Unless they all appeared in Madonna's sex book, which she did in the 90s. Do you
I was
remember
in there
when
for a
she
bit.
did? Oh, well,
I know
of
you were
course
in there, Alan.
were.
Everyone was in there.
Everyone. I think we need to actually talk to an expert. I know that you've actually met Madonna.
Yeah, she wanted to sign Frente to her company, which we met with her, and after meeting with her decided that that would be a really bad idea.
Oh, wow.
You snubbed Madonna?
Yeah.
Why? What was it about her?
Didn't like her.
Fair enough. Just got honest. Did you somehow know that in the future she'd try and do that weird rap thing? And you just went, no, I don't want to be part of that?
It could have been. It could have been this thing
Yeah, that's annoying.
in the office. You know, when you're trying to have a business meeting, that's kind of weird.
Is
she
that what
doing
she's
that?
doing? You're kidding.
Well, what is that anyway? Was it meant to be sexual or...?
Well, is there anything that you kind of came across that
Yeah, she
maybe
didn't
might link her to Carole King? I can't see any.
Well, I snubbed Carole King as well.
Oh, you're kidding.
This could be the thing in common.
Hey, the thing
I
in
snubbed
common,
Jackie
yeah.
Wilson. He tried to rip me off in a car and I went, no way, mate. Not interested.
There could be something in that, the names of similarities in the names or names of songs. Like I know
Jackie Wilson as well.
Jackie Wilson has.
Jackie Wilson said.
That's a combining factor, I reckon. There's two artists there. Jackie Wilson had the song sung about him. It was a Van Morrison song, is that
That's
right?
pretty good.
And also, Madonna, Do It With Madonna, the Androids, a local band, they did a song about.
It's either that or
Mads.
they all like spaghetti on toast. You choose.
You're going to go with they've all had a song written after them?
I reckon, but we're taking a gamble on the Carole King factor because we're not sure about that one.
The correct answer is they've all had songs written about them and named after them. Oh Carol was a hit for Neil Sedaka.
Okay.
Australian band The Androids sang I Want to Do It With Madonna, and Jackie Wilson Said was a hit for both Van Morrison and Dexy's Midnight Runners. Well done, you lot.
Wow.
At the end of that round, that was a point each for both of the teams.
Well done.
And now, Angie, did I read... Someone wrote a song about you as well. Are you in the title of a song?
Angie Hart made me want to move to Melbourne. Seriously.
You've got to be happy with that.
You didn't write it yourself and just distribute it, did you? No.
Now, there's a great true story about the song Jackie Wilson Said. In 1982, the band Dexy's Midnight Runners performed the song on the famous British music show Top of the Pops. However, instead of a picture of Jackie Wilson as their backdrop, the BBC props men accidentally gave them a picture of the legendary Scottish darts player Jockey Wilson. Let's see the two together for a moment.
It's uncanny. Which one's Jackie Wilson again?
They both got their hands near them.
It looks like Jackie Wilson just had a pint, which really goes hand in hand with the...
Right, it's time to move along to the next round. Now, performers are notorious for not looking after themselves. Straggly, unkempt hair, wild eyes, bad personal hygiene. No offence to anyone on the panel, by the way. Sometimes you can't tell if they're a musician or a serial killer. Either way, it couldn't hurt to ask for an autograph. That's why we've come up with a game called Musician or Serial Killer. I'm going to show each team member a photograph. They have to decide whether the person in question is a musician or a serial killer. Myth's team goes first. Myth, here's your photo. Is this a musician or a serial killer?
Really difficult to tell. I mean, you know, how do you know if someone's a murderer or a musician? From that, I'm not sure. The hat, perhaps a little bit of costume wear, which is, you know, goes with the world of the musicians. They love